Okay.
All right, so what we're going to do is I'm just showing a couple of easy exercises we're going to start with. And I'll show you the easy way and then where we really like to take this exercise to. First one is just going to be primarily for leg strength. You're going to have a lot more engagement of your knees while moving and fighting. There's very few sports that you can essentially be standing straight up in and doing well. I can't even list those off. Those knees have to be bent so that they can actually move and you have flow. So we're going to try to increase that strength and make sure that you're always in some type of bent knee while you're fighting. So that's one of the things when you're reviewing your fighting, see where you're bent. And later as we go, we're going to get a little deeper into those depending on what we're doing. So leg strength is primary to this. First piece is we're going to go ahead and do this pretty flat-footed, comfortably, because there are people that have some knee issues and they don't realize how really weak their legs are. So the first way we're going to do this is all we're going to do is a little body weight squat. We're going to go heel to toe. Just so you know, normally when I'm fighting somebody, I keep them in what we call the piece of pie, or some people call it pizza pie of death.
Pie of death.
But anyways, so it's the V from your feet, from your toes out. You want to keep your opponent in that V all the time. And I have another video. We'll talk about that later. But here's what I want you to do: is put your feet that way, look straight forward, and all I want you to do is go down, and then come back up, and then I want you to extend onto the balls of your feet. So again, we're going to do that. We're going to go down. You're going to put your hands in front of you, come back up, extend to the balls of your feet. One more time. So you're going to want to try that probably 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 15, and then we're going to modify that to be a little bit more like when we fight, or a little bit, so it's going to help us also with our balance and getting onto the balls of our feet, because that's another thing that keep you light in your feet. You're on the balls of your feet. You don't want to be on your heels a lot. We're going to see some heel stuff here, which happens when we're like falling out of something, but that's because we're pulling away. But what we're going to do this time is we're going to start on the balls of our feet. So my heels are off the ground, not way up or anything, just off the ground. Now we're going to go down. We're going to come back up, all on the balls of your feet, and then we're going to really lift it until you feel your toes engage on the ground, where you're literally kind of finding your balance, and then back down, and then all the way down, again, only on the balls of your feet, and then back up, and extend up onto those toes. Good. And then back down, and then back up, and extend. All the way up. Good. And back down. So you're going to find is there's going to be balance pieces in there. When you get way up on these toes, your balance and your toes are actually grabbing the ground a little bit. You can see if I wobble, my toes engage and try to put me back. All right? It's okay if you fall a little bit. You're going to do that at the beginning when you're not used to this. That is perfectly fine. That shows you that there's more work to do. So my wife's going to take this from the side this time. Good. Just walk over there.
I want to go this way.
Okay.
Because then you won't see all the junk.
All right. So just get the front here. All right. So here we begin. Again, nice and flat on the ground. We'll start the easy way. You'll notice the heels come up a little bit because they have to. You also notice that my body is perfectly straight. And then we're going to extend all the way up. And again, notice my back is staying straight up and down. And then back up and extend up. All right. We don't want to do this, where your hips fall back, and then we try to go to the ground, because now what's happening is your butt's going this way and your shoulders are going this way. That is not what we want. You want nice and straight. So again, so we're here, all the way down, and then back up, all the way up on the toes. Okay, not here. Not this. All right, you're doing nothing for yourself there, except probably putting stress on your back. Okay? So, nice and straight all the time, including in fighting. This is the advanced version, or the version we'd like to get to. Again, heels off the ground, all the way down, all the way up. This time all the way up on those toes. Reach. Reach as far as you can until you can feel your big toe and little toes engage. And then back down. And then all the way down. All the way up. And reach. Feel those toes engage. I'll show you why we want this to get strengthened and understand how to control your balance in a few minutes here. And back down. So, 10 to 15 again.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Would it be better to practice this without shoes and socks on, or would it be better to do it in shoes?
That's a great question. I would suggest you do it in no shoes, socks, or some type of shoe that the soles move on it. So don't put your construction boots on. Don't put your engineer boots on when you do this. Don't put hiking boots. Do this in something that you can bend, because a lot of those types of boots don't bend because of the way the sole is, or because you have a heel on it. I fight pretty much in turn shoes except for melee. This allows a lot of things like those toes to engage and grab the ground. And in this exercise is why boxers and wrestlers all have very thin soled shoes in the mats, so that they can actually grab to the ground and use their feet. All right, but thank you for that. It was a great question. All right, the next one. We'll do it from this same angle. So this one is going to be kind of using what we just learned, except now what we're going to do is we're going to transition forward and backwards, bending our knees. Okay, wherever you're comfortable. I don't care if you're just comfortable up here, that's fine. As you get better and better, I want you to get a little bit lower and lower. Again, heel to toe. We got the V, and what we're going to do is we're going to lean over the inside of my foot with my hip. So this is not me pushing my shoulders and my hips going out. This is me pushing my hip. And I'm going to get right up there, right on the ball of your foot at first when you start these. And then you're going to go back. You're going to get right kind of a little bit on the heel here. You notice the front foot comes off the ground, but my back is still perfectly straight. And again, all we're doing is we're working on strengthening those knees a little bit here. Some people won't be able to do this right away. You'll have very little movement. You'll find that, okay, that's about all I can go. Or that's about all I can go, because maybe you don't have strength in those knees because you had some knee issues. So again, we're going to just be comfortable. You're on the balls of my feet here again. And back. The biggest key in this is that your hips are underneath you. So, Saib, go ahead and show them when your hip is kicked back. So this is, you can see that that hip angle is literally faced this way. Even though, the way she's making up to keep her shoulder high is she bends her back. Where if her hip's under her,
Real hard to throw.
Really hard to throw that way. So she can't engage the hip very well that way. Now, she puts it back. You notice her back kind of gets straighter in through here, and now she can engage the hip more. So this hip place is really, really important. So you really want to make sure that you're not just making up for bent shoulders here by pulling your shoulders back. That doesn't fix your hip issue. Those hips literally have to pop forward. So in the end though, as we get better and better at this, what I'd like to see is this. We're going to all the way up to the front. Now we're going to engage those toes, you notice. Make sure that your knee is not over the outside of your foot. That's relatively dangerous on your knee. It should be sinking over the top of your foot or almost to the inside. And then you should be almost able to lift that back foot off the ground. And then put it back down. And then we're going to go back. And because our back is nice and stacked, we can take that foot right off the ground. And we're going to go again. Here we are. We're going to get nice and stacked. That hip is right over there. Yep, not easy. The toes are really going to engage there, guys. And then we're going to get back here again. The good part from this is even when I'm here, I can throw. So here, my back is still nice and high. I'm not this way where I'm pointing up here. Because if I'm pointing up here, then I'm falling backwards. All right? We want to keep that back nice and straight through that whole exercise. You want to get to the front? All right, so this is what it looks like from the front. Here we are. We're going to go ahead and we can start a little flat-footed. That's fine. And we're going to go forward. Again, I'm like right over this inside knee. This is where I'm just pushing this hip over the top of my knee. Okay? If I engage my toes more, I can get a little bit more and practically lift my back foot off the ground. And then you put it back down, and then we go all the way back. And you notice again, I'm nice and stacked. I'm not this way. I'm nice and stacked, nice and up. And then back forward, all the way into those toes, or as far as you can go for the first time. You're gonna find, and I've done this already with a couple people, including people with some knee issues, that the idea, this will strengthen that knee a little bit more and more over time. And you'll be able to stretch farther and farther out into these, which really become the big key in all of this. So let me show you why we are gonna do this shot. So with this shot, what happens is I'm standing in front of a person, stay right there. And I know I'm gonna get big here for a second. If I just essentially stay on my heels and come forward, this is where I can throw from without stepping. I can kind of step here. Yes?
They can't see your feet.
There we go. So I can, if I'm here and I never get off that heel, then this is as far as I throw. Where before my foot is falling that way. Also, it tends to make it difficult to not push your hips back or your hips fall out. Where here, I'm driving the hip, not the leg so much, and I'm letting that roll on that. And the more I can keep it, bang, then I'm forward. I fall into the shot. It's nice and even. My head's not popping up and down. All my energy and focus is going straight at my opponent. So that's why that exercise is put in there. Is so that you can start learning the transition, that weight transition in your hips and in your body, because that's going to fall into all your movement later. You notice I use a lot of center to push forward and back. Later I'm going to use center, because I'm going to fall out. I'm going to use center to fall one way, or center to fall the other way. So there's all this moving the hip becomes the most important part, and we're just trying to strengthen that ability, and all of that straight's going to come in your legs. Can you just show the hip tilt?
Oh,
So they
again?
from the side.
Yeah.
So
Like in stance.
yep.
So yeah. Vertical spine, what you don't want
Is
when
that
that happens.
Duck butt.
Duck butt.
duck butt? That's exactly
It makes it real hard to do anything and just doesn't feel nice.
right.
This is a lot more balanced because all of the weight of your body is now stacked in a straight line over your leg.
Pelvis
opposed
forward.
To here where it's not.
Pelvis forward.
Yeah. Right underneath you.
You can literally grab it and tuck it.
All right. So make sure that you watch for that while you're reviewing your videos. I just wanted to explain a couple exercises. These are the first exercises I give a lot of people so that we can start from the beginning and start strengthening the legs. So hopefully that helps you guys. We'll cut some more stuff later for you. Thank you.